All right, so Nuki asked how to get the person who's triggering an impulse. So, in the node browser, and forgive me, I'm not actually familiar where all the nodes are. It's like it. Um, I don't have much time to actually do protoflux. There's this node called local user. Now, local user outputs. We'll say like it only outputs one user, but that isn't actually correct. This node outputs the user that is running this copy of Resonite. What you need to imagine whenever you're playing Resonite is that for every user that exists, there is a second copy of the world running on their computer. So I've sort of arranged that in this sort of three-dimensional structure. So let's say that there are three people in the world. Nuki, you're in the world with me, and I don't know, maybe Fruix is there as well. There are three local user nodes that exist. One of them is on my computer, one of them is on Fruix's computer, and one of them is on Nuki's computer. So what we need to do is to figure out, well, how do we interact with the value that comes out of local. Don't forget to track your time. Um, that didn't come up on you, but it'll be on the recording. Anyway, um, I've got Toggle running. Toggle's a time tracker. For the business client, we're doing hour tracking, and so I use Toggle for it, and it just popped up a reminder, track your time. I'm like, I'm not doing work right now. Anyway, as I was saying, um, so what you need to do is figure out how to interact with just the version of this node that exists on the person that is running the impulse's computer. And the easiest way to do that is just using any form of impulse. Um, so if we were to do if here, so we've got an if here, we can put in a condition here, and this condition might be actually, let's do this on my copies. We can do a condition here, and we can say use a username. No, I don't need a second user. Use a username, probable prime, right? So then we can do mathematics. Mathematics, yeah, we can do mathematics on it. We can do uh, should I pick the wrong one again? Yeah, I did. So we can do logical operations on this, and we can say, is the local user probable prime? And then we can plug this into here. Now, again, you need to imagine that this copy of Protoflux exists for each copy of the user. I'm not going to recreate the setup, but this copy of Protoflux exists for Nuki and Fruix. So when I hit this button, I'm hitting my copy of it. I'm not hitting Fruix's copy of it, and I'm not hitting Nuki's copy of it. So when I hit this, you'll see that it goes, yes, true, this is probable prime, and we get an impulse up here. And that's because that call there, this line, only runs on my machine because I'm the one that hits call. This entire operation doesn't use Nuki's copy or Fruix's copy because I'm the one triggering it. Does that make sense? If we were to do something a little bit more complicated, for example, button events, so you could hook this up to, you could hook this up to a context menu or a physical button or whatever, and you put this into the button, then this again works because button events is scoped to who pushed the button, and they generate this impulse, and that impulse only runs on their computer, which means this copy of Protoflux and this copy of Protoflux aren't running. Only this one is, which is on my computer, and on my computer, local user is me. So I won't do the actual write, and the reason behind that is because I always get writes wrong. We could just write this. And we'll write it into a variable, and then that variable will receive my username. Again, because I'm generating the impulse. And that's the biggest thing I don't think enough people know, is that whenever you see this impulse line, the contents coming out of this, as in the actual impulse chain, it only runs where the impulse has been generated. It doesn't run concurrently across the stack of users. So if Electronus in there is in here and pushes the button, Electronus's computer will run local user, Electronus's computer will run user username, and Electronus's computer will run the write here, and it will write it to the variable. However, write is actually what's called a, I'm not going to name it because then people say, like, that's the official name for it, as quoted at this office hours. The terminology is a bit sort of wishy-washy for Protoflux, for both me and in general. But when we write this, it has what are called data model effects. So at the write node will affect the data model. So the value that's coming into here when it's written will be synced to all other users. So when you write this, all other users will see the value, not because local user outputs anything special, but because the end result of the impulse chain is writing a variable which is synchronized. I'm going to endeavor to get the correct type of Protoflux variable. Someone might have to help me because I always get this wrong. For anyone going like, whoa, you work on Resonite, how are you getting Resonite wrong? I don't have time to play. I don't have time to play. Is it this one? I don't know. There's too many. Yay, there we go. I did it first time. So when I push this, actually I don't have a button right now, so we'll just do this here. This variable now has my name in it. But if Electronus were to come into the session and push this, because this impulse here would only then run on Electronus's computer, only Electronus's local user node would be used, and therefore only Electronus's username would be written to this variable. I hope that helped. I know it was rambly, but that's what you get for sort of impromptu videos. I will put this on my channel, but I'll tag it with like live or whatever. I don't know. I'll make it clear that it's not one of good quality. But there you go. That's what I was after explaining. I'm getting no feedback on my explanations, so I'll assume it's the best explanation in the world, and we'll